Yeah, Kurt. West Indies in a must-win game.
What kind of must we are talking about? West Indies are going to win this is only Scotland.
Yeah,
Should
it's
be an easy
Scotland.
game.
Yeah, but it's Scotland, but it's the first round in the same pot.
Welcome, Sports Nation, to Sports DTM, the sports channel where we call sports down the middle. You can expect the latest in sports news, views, and reviews from our resident analysts. No sports topic is too controversial, and no team or player is above criticism. So just smash that subscribe button and ring that notification bell to make sure you don't miss out on our balanced offering of riveting sports content. And don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment below. Welcome to Sports DTM.
Greetings, Sports DTM fans, and welcome to another episode of Sports Down the Middle, your channel of undiluted sports content. Adrian and I are here to talk about the upcoming World Cup match between Scotland and the West Indies. This will be both team first match of the qualifiers Group B. Both teams are in Group B and they will be playing their first match. Coming into this round, Adrian, West Indies' record has been very poor. They've won two of their last five, if I'm going to count the warm up match in there. Otherwise, it would be 4-1. They beat UAE in the warm up game by 17 runs. Scotland, on the other hand, they are 4-1 if I count their warm up match in it as well. They beat the Netherlands by 18 runs. Both teams coming into this first round needing a win because there are four teams in Group B and the top two advance to the Super 12 group stage. West Indies ranked 7, Scotland ranked 15. This should be an interesting matchup, Adrian.
Yeah, Kurt. Put some respect on West Indies' name. Isn't this the two-time World Cup T20 champions? The truth is that this should be a cakewalk for the West Indies, but let's be clear, they are in the same qualifier, call it the same pot, right? If West Indies were that much better than Scotland, they would have been in the next round. So, as a matter of fact, Scotland, as you have rightly said, are in a more winning position in terms of their runs of win versus the West Indies, who seem to be struggling and just chopping and changing. It should be interesting. It's interesting to see how the West Indies will line up. It's interesting to see how they will approach Scotland, with hungry, has a good mix of youth and experience, and are looking to actually knock out one of the should have been the top one of the top T20 teams in the world.
Brethren, yeah, you're pushing it a little too much right about now. West Indies can't lose to Scotland. I mean, but okay, fine.
Hey,
So Scotland, both teams will need to progress to the next round, right? Scotland were in a similar position last year. They had to qualify as well, and they won all three games and advanced to the Super 12. And we are familiar with the way the West Indies played in the last World Cup, right? Last year, them play 6 matches or 5 matches, and them only win one and finished at the bottom of it. Well, second to last in their table. So I mean, Scotland know what is required to advance from this stage. But when you talk about, you mentioned the two-time champion, right? West Indies with firepower, star players. You don't really expect Scotland to upset all of us in this matchup tomorrow.
well, fun and jokes aside, Kurt, the truth is that the West Indies has traditionally been a powerhouse in T20 cricket. We're talking about two-time world champions. Um, they used to have big power hitters. They're talking about the likes of the Chris Gales, the Andre Russells, excellent all-rounder Dwayne Bravo, Sunil Narayan, and Karen Pollard. The list goes on. This is a different West Indies team. This is a team that you can say quite a bit of the players are just coming back in the squad. The West Indies went throughout the last year or so with a fresh team. Um, Karen Pollard, the previous captain, went out earlier on in the year, a couple of months back. A new captain has been in place. Nicholas Puran started off good for the year, then tapered off. Just at the back end, looks like he was catching some form. But the team has introduced new players in the team, some which have before the last couple of weeks hadn't played a T20 match before. Players we expected to have been in the team were playing with the team before. Those players dropped out, made ways for people who played the CPL, played probably good in 3 or 4 games, and as such, you really don't know what to expect. You don't know which West Indies they're going to get. You don't know if you're going to get big paw hitters, but they're certainly not going to get people who run in there between the wickets. But you're hoping that the West Indies can put it together properly to get us going there.
And as you conclude your thoughts, I'm sharing with you the squad. You did mention a new captain as well, and a few faces that haven't been in the team for some time, and some that were totally not fit to play, and then all of a sudden they show up, as well as players that have never played T20 for the West Indies or for their franchise or for their country, but they're in the team. But nevertheless, there's always some drama around the team, and
West
leading
Indies.
up to this tour, the name that is missing, that was initially part of the squad, Shamran Etmaya, was replaced by Shamar Brooks. But we're not going to talk about Etmaya and that situation right now. That is in the past. We're going to focus on the players that have been selected to represent the country. The time has passed for anybody to be replaced. So what you see on the screen
What
is
we get,
what you will have to work with. So
indeed.
in looking at the team, and what who would you consider your best 11? You can either select the 11, or you can select the four that is not in your 11.
Well, we'll pretty much select the 11 in terms of what we expect to the players we expect to be in the team. First up is
Right.
that we have 4 openers. One of them will not play. I expect that Kyle Mears will start as opener. The West Indies team, Phil Simmons and the West Indies team hell bent on trying to get back Evan Lewis into form, and as such, he seems to be likely to start. Although all along they were playing Myers with Brandon King. Brandon King is a sure pick for it based on his batting, and of course there is the captain Nicholas Puran as a middle order. Just he played pretty well in the match against the UAE, as well as his vice captain Rothman Powell. The rest of the team includes, of course, a Jason Holder in the middle order. There is Alzari Joseph, who is pretty much a prime pace bowler across all formats of the game. Akil Hussain, your spinner, and of course, Odin Smith, who is an excellent all rounder and very good at the back end of the team. Leaves the back probably what, 2 spaces for players, which is up for grabs. When I'm looking at this team, a Sheldon Cottrell always gives you that option. A left-handed fast bowler is always a good option, and I would like to think that you're going to be having a player who can probably give you runs, which is a Shamar Brooks. I'm sure Phil Simmons will be telling us, and the West Indies will be telling us that Yannick Carrier played well against the UAE. But if I had a chance of picking all of those 11 players before versus him, I would definitely leave him out, as well as Raymond Reefer and Obed McCoy. Somehow I think that I'm having an extra one player that I'm missing, that I'm including, that I should not. And I think that player, the other player that is out is Johnson Charles. So yeah, that's 4 players. So Carrier is out, Charles is out, McCoy is out and Reefer is out. Those are the players that I would be putting out,
I
and the other players will be in 11. So my count was good.
Right, yes, you're actually on point as it relates to the count. I'm not sure if I'm agreeing with you as it relates to Evan Lewis. Mind you, Evan Lewis is one of the top T20 players that West Indies have, and his records are there to show. But in the last year or so, he has done absolutely nothing. So I feel like Raymond Reefer, who will give me some good 4 overs, and he can also pick up some wickets as a better option. And I would stick with King and Myers as my
So
openers.
yeah, so to your point, and you're quite right. If it was up to me alone, if I'm not Phil Simmons, I definitely go for Raymond Reefer instead of Evan Lewis, because obviously before these previous few matches, they had a thing going with Kyle Mears and Brandon King. It appeared though that the
Right,
West Indies think to themselves that they need to be going faster, and Evan Lewis can do, but he hasn't done anything at all from the last World Cup last year, back in what's that, November, December thereabout. And as such, realistically, he shouldn't even be in the team. But I saw where they were trying to get him to bat in the warm-up games, and obviously trying to bat him into form. I hadn't done anything in the CPL before that. Didn't play a lot of games in the IPL, and of course, as we said before, now he didn't play for the West Indies because he was unfit, and suddenly had a conversation with the captain and the coach and became fit again, eligible for selection, and back on the plane to Australia. So you're right. I would have, if it was my choice alone, introduced Raymond Reefer. Would give me a little bit of bowling. Not so sure about his batting. I hope that they don't think he's a number three batsman as well. He can probably bat somewhere in the middle. But certainly, I would have brought in Shamar Brooks, who was incidentally not a part of the 15, original 15, but got a breakthrough with Shimon Ekmar being left behind due to travel challenges.
just also to remind you, I know you're talking about Evan Lewis' performance in the last match. 2 runs off 5 balls. That was his contribution to the score.
As
Raymond
expected,
Raymond Reefer had 3 for 17 off his 4 overs. Okay,
enough
so
said.
and he is one of those players who are in the top 10 in terms of performance, batting performance in the CPL. Evan Lewis wasn't in that top 10. All right, so he contributed with the bat for the Jamaica Talawas on their
Hey,
road to victory in
no,
the
no
CPL.
objection from me. No objection from me.
R- Right. So fans out there, would love to hear who you think should be in the starting 11 for the West Indies against Scotland. And Adrian, just to share, look at the Scotland team as well. They're coming into this World Cup a lot of familiar faces. They're quite experienced bunch, and you can't underestimate a team that includes a player who would have won the T20 bash in England with Hampshire Hawks, and that is Brad Wheeler as one of their many experienced players. The captain is there. I mean, we cannot underestimate a Scotland team, regardless.
Yeah, Kurt. You can't underestimate a Scotland team. Richie Barrington, captain, very good player. Brad Wheel, winning over there in England, but he also had players like a player like Davy, who represented Somerset across all formats. So included in this team, of course, is a mix of youth and experience, and we cannot overemphasize that you cannot sleep on the Scottish team. They really want to pull off an upset on the West Indies. Yes, they are at number 15 coming in the tournament. West Indies at number 7, but make no mistake about it. They are here to make some noise. They want to qualify for the next round, and they are hoping that they'll catch a West Indies team who are not on their game, and all it takes is 20 overs to get them to their destination. So West Indies needs to, just not sleep on them and try to get aggressive from the start. Otherwise, it could be curtains.
Right, and as I said earlier, both teams came going into this match of warm-up victories. Narrowly, West Indies narrowly beating the UAE by 17 runs and Scotland beating the Netherlands by 18 runs. So both of them going into this match with a little bit of a confident booster, having won their warm-up games. But in terms of the strategy for the West Indies going into this game, would you want to see them bat first or bowl first?
Yeah, Kurt, I prefer to see the West Indies actually bowling first. The West Indies tend to do better chasing. They seem not to be able to calculate when they bat first in terms of calculate how much runs are needed to actually be able to win a game. They're talking about playing in Australia. It's 11 p.m. Over in the Caribbean, which means that it's probably in the morning. So you don't have to think about the lights as much just yet. But the truth is that the West Indies seems to be able to calculate a run chase better than actually knowing how much runs it is that is needed to be set to hold off the opposition. So if the West Indies win the toss, I would say put the Scottish team in, attack them from early out and try to restrict them, and then you can actually chase it down where you can do your big hitting as well as you're pushing the ball around to get to the target.
Here I say pushing the ball around, that is just not the West Indies way.
That's
But
why you're bringing in Shamar Brooks and Brandon King and those players. They can do
but
it.
I do agree with you that we need to be extremely dominant, whether we bat first or bowl first.
You
If we
you you
bat
would
first, we need to
you,
put
you
on
would
a
bat
big
first?
score and defend it. If we bat first, then the score need to be 200 plus,
Correct.
right? And if we bowl first, then whatever the Scottish put on the board, we need to hit it off in little or no over. I don't know if you can lick it off, over, but in the shortest possible time. So net run rate always seems to be a thing in T20 World
It
Cup, and
is.
it is important that we dominate this matchup. Fans out there would love to hear from you. What strategy should you think the West Indies should use in this matchup against Scotland? West Indies, two-time champion, overwhelming favorite to win this one, but you cannot sleep on the Scottish. They have an experienced team with players who have played over 70 matches, a strike rate of over 140 in their career, and players who have scored centuries in T20 internationals. So let us hear from you by you leaving your comments in the comment section below. What's your thoughts on the West Indies versus Scotland matchup? Do you think this is an easy match for the West Indies, or do you think this Scottish team will walk over them? They're losing, so we don't know exactly what to say. But two-time champion, we can't write off West Indies in a match against Scotland. So leave those comments in the comment section below, and always remember to like, to share, and to subscribe, and to follow Sports DTM as we follow the West Indies and their World Cup quest. And we will be celebrating at the end of the tournament with a trophy, right? So let us all agree and pray for that, yeah? So Adrian and I signing out, saying, be blessed.